Okay, this will start our discussion on Chapter 20, our gram-negative bacilli that are important medically. This is a large group of non-spore-forming bacteria, the aerobic ones. They are found in a lot of habitats, sometimes in the large intestines, which makes them enteric. They're zoonotic. We find them in our respiratory systems, in the soil, and water. Most of them aren't medically important. Some are opportunist and some are true pathogens. As far as virulence, they all have that outer membrane of the lipopolysaccharide of the cell wall that produces an endotoxin. The opportunistic pathogens are Pseudomonas and Burkholderia. The zoonotic are Brucella and Francisella. And then the Bordetella and Legionella are the human pathogens. Now, looking at the gram-negative rods as far as pathogens, the aerobes that do not ferment the carbohydrates are listed here. The facultative anaerobes that ferment carbohydrates and are lactose fermenting, we're familiar with some of these because we worked with them. The Escherichia, the Klebsiella, the Citrobacter, and the Enterobacter. This is a list of those that are non-lactose fermenting. They're oxidase negative. And here you see your obligate, the ones that are, oxidative positive, and then the obligate anaerobes, the bacteroids. And this is just a list of all the different kinds of the gram-negative bacilli that are pathogenic. You'll want to spend some time looking at this. Now, speaking specifically about Pseudomonas, these have small gram-negative rods, a single polar flagellum. They're free-living. They're important decomposers and bioremediators. A lot of times we find them as contaminants in homes and in clinical settings. They are aerobic and they do not ferment carbohydrates. They do produce oxidase and catalase, and many of them produce water-soluble pigments. Looking specifically at the Pseudomonas aeruginosa, you find this in the soil and water, and about 10% of people have this as an intestinal resident. They're resistant to soaps and dyes and the quaternary ammonium disinfectants, drugs, and drying. A lot of times they contaminate ventilators or IV solutions or anesthesia equipment, and they're opportunistic. And you can see it here, what it looks like on the left, and then on the right you can see when someone has this microbe. It's a common cause of nosocomial infections if the host has burns or neoplastic disease or cystic fibrosis, and they could get pneumonia, UTIs, abscesses, otitis, or corneal disease. Also endocarditis, meningitis, or bronchopneumonia. It produces a grape-like odor, and it's greenish blue, and it is multi-drug resistant. I'm going to go back and look at it again. You see how it's greenish blue. You can see it here. The main reservoir for Pseudomonas aeruginosa is soil and water.